I want to talk to you about living in the power of your creation. Which sounds lofty, doesn't it? Living in the power of your creation. But actually this is something deeply pragmatic, deeply applicable to your everyday life. Now, a lot of people think that they are what they are. I am what I am, that they say, and they have what's called a fixed mindset. They believe that their upbringing or whatever set them being the kind of person they are, and at best they can make small changes. A lot of people believe that. Other people believe that if they work really hard on themselves, they can change who they are. They can learn and grow and develop. It's a much more empowering way to be. But there's another way to think about this. Instead of I'm fixed how I am, or if I work really hard I can change how I am, what if it were the case that it turned out that who you are is being recreated in each and every moment of your life? You are literally recreating yourself, participating at least in the recreation of yourself moment by moment by moment. And in fact, even to keep yourself the same, the only way you can keep yourself the same is by continually recreating yourself as you have been, outside of consciousness, and yet proactively recreating yourself as you have been. And this is what most of us do. In fact, we've got a lot of unconscious defaults that do this for us, that keep referencing everything that we think is true about the world, everything we think is true about ourselves, and recreating ourselves along those lines. So we live at the level of description, describing ourselves, describing our lives, and as we describe that, as we operate by those descriptions, we write them back in. We rewrite them back into the system and encourage them to persist. This is what happens when you live at the level of description. Now, description is creation, or recreation, if you like. It's the creation of the future from the past. This is how we keep ourselves the same, through descriptions of the past that we use to recreate our future. But there's another way of living. When you step up and you start operating by the idea of right now being the most relevant point in your life, this very moment, and that in this very moment you can upgrade your consciousness and upgrade to the level of choice and start participating proactively in the creation of yourself. As you go forward, you don't have to recreate yourself from the descriptions of the past and how you think things are. What if you step up to creating yourself afresh? How it is that you want to be. Free yourself as much as you can from those limitations of the past and think about creating your future from possibility, not from how you think things are. So, all description is creation, but why not abandon description and move into pure creation? Then what happens? Now, why is this relevant? Why am I talking about this right now? I'm making this video right now for a reason. I'm making this video because I've just received an email communication from somebody who's asking me to help them out because they are in a position whereby they are setting up a business. They've got a fair way in setting up the business, and they say they're keeping themselves back with a limiting belief or some limiting beliefs, which is leading to procrastination. Okay, hanging back, not rising up, not striding forward, laying low, hanging back, procrastinating, all of this kind of thing. And this limiting belief is holding them back. Now, we haven't done any work on this specific limiting belief yet, and we may or we may not. We'll see how this unfolds. But the thing that jumps up for me when people talk about limiting beliefs is I know that the belief that they hold leads to a description on some level about how things are. So for example, it might be, it's difficult to get a business like this going because of X. It might be that I know that other people can do this kind of thing easily, but I'm just not that kind of person. Or it might be that I've tried to start businesses before and they've always failed, so this one will probably fail too, or this one has a good chance of failing too. So you see, whatever the limiting beliefs are, they drive descriptions. And when the descriptions are repeated, either consciously or unconsciously, what do? They recreate the self that is operating from those descriptions. So of course nobody feels like striding forward if they think that their efforts are going to be wasted, if they have a description that says their efforts are going to be wasted. But when you understand the difference between description, living by recreating yourself from your past ideas and your past beliefs, versus stepping up to that place of choice where you say, yes, I am recreating myself moment by moment. So right now, what is it that I choose to create? Where is it that I choose to come from in my attitude? Where is it that I choose to come from in my mindset? Where is it that I choose to come from in my focus? Where is it that I choose to come from in my consciousness? So if you understand this distinction, you can watch out for where you're recreating yourself from old descriptions, and you can call yourself out on it. You can have a higher level of awareness. You can go, look, I'm recreating myself from a description of the past, from a description of something I've decided is true at some point. What happens now when I step up and I say, so what is it that I want to create? How is it that I want to be right now? What kind of energy do I want to carry into this? You can coach yourself when you have that awareness, when you have this distinction between living in description versus living in creation, or recreating yourself from your past versus recreating yourself afresh right now for your future. When you have that distinction and you can hear the way you're organizing your thoughts or see the way you're organizing your thoughts, you have a choice. You have a choice, because the gap between stimulus and response is bigger than you think. So step into it and start engaging your creative faculty to build a new you. Now, I want to be clear. Remember, you're recreating yourself moment by moment by moment. You can always do this. A lot of people, when they're trying to change themselves, they say, I tried to change myself and I failed. It doesn't matter. It's not changing an immutable object to some other immutable object. You're just not that blocky. You're in flow. So the question is, how do you participate in your own flow, in the flow that's life? Okay? And you do it by bringing higher levels of consciousness and higher levels of choice. The more and more you do that, the easier and easier it becomes. Maybe you do transform on a deeper level as a result of that. But remember, you can always step up to the place of consciousness and choice. You can always step up to participating in your own recreation at higher levels, at future-orientated levels, at resource-orientated levels, instead of the levels of limitation and description of past shortcomings, etc.